Hi everybody, welcome. This is Dina. Sorry for the lighting. This is as good as it gets. I'm in a hotel room in Niagara Falls, New York, and my husband and I have been traveling for a couple of days now, and I've done a good bit of stitching in the car as I could. Sometimes the light wasn't bright enough. Sometimes the flickering of the sun coming through the trees was enough for a strobe effect, and that made it hard to see. But I have several things to share with you for stitching of what I've done so far. So the first one I'm going to share with you was my Springo call on our first day of travel, and this was a challenge. This is Rosie Rhapsody. I know you can't see that well. I'll put it over here in the light a little bit. And I'm doing that top portion of it, as you know. And I had to put 100 stitches in it for Springo and Bingo. And I wound up getting a little more than 100 stitches. Let me get my notes over here where I can see them. I'm not in my usual place, but anyway. I got 121, but I will tell you, this was difficult. This was difficult. This is an opalescent linen 32 count, and so that made it really hard to see, and it took me over 2 hours to get 121 stitches, which is not like me. But anyway, I'm gonna hold it back here so you can see in the light what I did, and I'll have to bring it forward so you can really see it, was this section in the middle. So I had the corner done, and then I went in and did the section. Let's see if I can put something behind it so you can see a little bit better. Towards the middle there. Starting the inner circle on that one. So that was quite an accomplishment to get that done in the car. And then I thought, you know, I'm tired of looking at this really bright sparkle on a dark fabric and trying to really get to see that in the car. So I thought, let's try a lighter fabric. What do I want to stitch on? Well, I mentioned that our library group is going to be working on Patriotic stitching. And so I decided, well, what I think I'll do is kind of pick up my Patriotic stitching and see if I can't start what I want to stitch for the library stitch. So this is called Free and Brave, and it's from the Drawn Thread. And I'll try to get it in here where you can see it a little bit better. Sorry for the lighting, it's really, really bad. But this is a big house right here. There's a beautiful flag that goes all the way across the top there, if you can see it. And there's some words. And the words actually say, home of the free and the brave. So I thought that was a great one to get started with. And I pulled it out and I could see it much, much better in the car. Now, this one calls for 32 count fabric, and it calls for 1 strand over 2. So that's what I'm doing. That's not my favorite on 32. I usually like 2 strands on 32 because I like really rich, thick color. But I want to stay true to this pattern. I like the look of it, and so I'm doing it with 1 strand. And this is the flag. I did get that done. So I worked on this 2 days. I worked on it the first day, got 248 stitches in it. And then yesterday, after I finished stitching on 2 other things, I pulled this back out and I finished the flag, and I did another 486 stitches to finish that flag. So there you go. It is a lovely, lovely piece. And I'm doing it on Heroic, 32 count Heroic. So it's got those blue and red little slashes of color in it, which is really sweet. So then my call yesterday was for Peacock. And I pulled out my Peacock and I put 222 more stitches into my Peacock. And so it was the dark blue that I added in the tail all the way around to where I had stitched the yellow feathers. So that was getting the bird closer and closer to being ready. I have to show this so you can see what I'm talking about, and I have to move it back here so you can see the colors. Not ideal, sorry. But I didn't want to go any longer without talking with you, because if I did, I think I would forget what I had worked on and what I was doing. And thank you for letting me just put this away as I show it to you. Since I have everything in one bag, I'm just trying to keep everything together. Well, then after I finished working those 222 stitches on Peacock and felt like that was a really good amount of progress, and felt like it was a good place to stop, I decided, my husband and I stopped for lunch, and I decided that was a good time to swap something up. And then I decided to challenge myself again. I don't know why I do these kinds of things, but I pulled out my Christmas stocking on black. Can you believe it? It's on black Lugano. Well, it's on dusk from Picture This Plus. But I was working on 4 calling birds, and it was my ornament for the month. And I decided that I was just going to go ahead and pull it out and see if I could see it well enough to work on it. And as it turned out, we were on a section of the interstate where the way we were driving, the direction we were heading, the sun was coming right in my window, shining right on this fabric. I could see it beautifully. It was as if I had this bright, bright light sitting right on top of it, and I was able to finish it. So I'm going to bring it up here and let you see it is the finish. There's all 4 of the calling birds, and this will give you an idea more of the colors of it. They're yellowy, kind of a golden color of bird with a little bit of white on them. And then there's some red on around. Now, that is awesome. Because now, when I get home the last day of the month, I don't have to worry. The next month, when I'm ready to start my monthly requirements, I'll be fine, because I will have finished this one for April, and I'll be ready to start on May without any worries of not having finished the one for April. That was really the reason I pulled it out. I wanted to finish it before I started on May. So, that catches you up. That's the stitching I've been doing while traveling. Now today, our plans are to go sightseeing. We're gonna go see Niagara Falls. We're gonna tour around the area a little bit. And my husband is planning us a nice day. He's downstairs at the buffet getting breakfast and kind of looking at what we're gonna do. I'm kind of hoping for a bit of a bus tour of the area, and then maybe a tour right at the falls where you can hike around or ride around and see it. But I'm letting him kind of come up with that. He's a good planner when it comes to trips and putting activities together. Now, I will tell you, if you come to Niagara Falls in the off season, which is what we're doing, we decided just to tag this onto our travels getting to the retreat in Canada, the Stitch North. But if you come to Niagara Falls during an off season, be aware, especially on the US side, that a lot of the restaurants and facilities, activities and things like that close up during the week because there's not enough tourists here to really warrant them staying open, I guess. But they don't open until around Wednesday or Thursday. So we arrived here on a Tuesday, And when we got checked in and got settled into our hotel room, we decided it was time for dinner, and we went and looked at all the restaurants in the area that we could find, and our hotel gave us a wonderful map, of the area, and it has all the restaurants listed in the area, and it actually shows you where they are. And we were trying to stay fairly close to the hotel so we didn't have to get back in the car and drive a long way, because we'd been in the car for 2 days. We found a restaurant we thought we would like, and we went to it and it was closed. And it didn't say it was closed on the website, because we looked it up and to find it, to see the menu and all of that, and it did not say it was closed. So we drove all the way there and it was closed. So we happened to see right across the street, there was a restaurant open called Wine on 3rd, I think it is, or Wine on 5th. Anyway, the name of the street is the 5th, I think so. It's 5th Street, so it's Wine on 5th. And we looked at that and thought it was a little bar, and we thought, oh, we really wanted some food, for dinner, because we had been eating kind of fast food in the car on the trip. And we really wanted a decent meal for supper. So we came all the way back to the hotel. And I say all the way back, it was just a few blocks. But anyway, we came back to the hotel, sat in the parking lot, and started over and looking again, trying to find other restaurants. And we found 2 or 3 more. And as we checked on them, they were all closed. So all of the buffets, all of the restaurants that served like meat and vegetables were closed. So what you had left were the small little neighborhood bars, some fast food. I think there was a Moe's around here that was open, that sort of thing. And so my husband said, look, he said, we know Wine on 5th is open. Let's look at their menu. So we pulled them out, we looked at the menu, and oh my gosh, they had all sorts of things. It was quite a nice little restaurant, and so looks can be deceiving. So we went there and we had dinner, and we split a pizza. I know I said we wanted a meat and vegetables, but when we got there, we really didn't want a huge, large meal, and it was either a huge meal of chicken parm or chicken marsala, or a lot of it was Italian. Some of their big meals that we would have been interested in, like fish and chips, or fried food or fried seafood, or even blackened seafood, they only have on the weekend. So we wound up splitting a pizza. My husband got a wedge salad, and it was delicious. It was absolutely delicious, and our waitress was a delight, and she was great service. She would chat with us for a minute and then walk away. She wasn't trying to hover. So we got to sit and talk and visit, Tommy and I, and enjoy our dinner, and it was delicious. We had a great meal. It was hard to leave the leftovers there, but we really didn't have a good way to take them with us, because we're going to be gone all day today, and we didn't want to just leave them in the fridge and then not eat them. So we left them. But that's not like us. We generally bring home leftovers and make good use of them. But and when you're traveling, you have to make adjustments. But I just wanted to share with you, we've had excellent weather. We've had very little rain, just a little bit of rain on us part of the way yesterday. And we're supposed to have a sunny day today. Now, it's not gonna be hotter than about 58 degrees, but I have my big blue coat over there, my puffy coat. And I also have a sweater in the car. And so I'll layer and see how I like, when I have to take that off. That'll be fine if I have to. And we'll go from there. So my stitching call, if I get to do that today, is actually for Rosie Rhapsody again. And I'm grateful that I'm not traveling, because I might be able to see it. I've got a very, very bright little lamp right here that's on this desk. And I'm gonna try to use it and see if I can see well enough to stitch. And I'll be doing that this morning while my husband's planning. And then when he gets back and we get ready to go, I'll just leave it here. And our plans, I think, are to just stay here after we tour today, spend the night, get up in the morning, and travel on over to Canada and do a little sightseeing on our way, because we can't check into our hotel till 3. And then once we can check in, we can wait for Marissa to arrive, and then we can get together and go to dinner tomorrow night. So, and then Marissa and I can get together and stitch. So I'm excited about that and looking forward to it. And then the retreat will start Friday morning. So I'll try to record as often as I can, kind of bring you up to date like I did today on what's been going on since I recorded last, and keep you kind of informed on what we're doing on our little vacation and the retreat, and share with you things as I get them. I hope you're having a great week of stitching. I feel a little bit like I'm missing you because I don't get to talk to you every day, but I hope that you enjoy traveling with me, and many of you have told me that you do, so that's why I am sharing it with you in such detail. I will let you get back to your stitching or your crafting, whatever you might be working on, and I will talk to you again as soon as I can. Happy stitching, everybody.
This is the lovely place that we're staying in Canada. We're in a little subdivision by the lake.
We're in Niagara by the Lake is the name of the village.
Niagara by the Lake. And it's a lovely, lovely room. And this is where we will be for the night. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. Wow, isn't this a different situation? I am in my hotel room here in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada. We came on over first thing this morning. We went by Niagara Falls, and it is beautiful. I have a couple of pictures I can pop in here to show you what it looks like. But nothing can compare you for the beautiful sound, the roaring water. It's absolutely gorgeous. We parked our car. It's a little expensive to pay to park. It cost us $24 for an hour. But that was perfect time. We walked across the street from our parking area, which was right in front of the police department. And we walked on down to the falls, and then we walked all the way down in front of the bridal veil and went on down to what they called the horseshoe, and got to get close enough that we got the mist in our faces. It was wonderful. I walked as far as I wanted to walk, and my husband wanted to run on down to the end, which he did, and then he came back and met back up with me, and we walked all the way back up to the bridal veil again and across over to our car. And we actually had spent almost an hour. I think we had about 5 or 6 minutes left on our parking pass by the time we got back. So that was wonderful. After we walked up and down in front of the fall and took pictures and observed it and listened to it and had that experience, we drove on into our community that we're staying in for tonight. And it is called Niagara by the Lake. And it is absolutely beautiful. The whole area is gorgeous, and so we booked a room at a beautiful place here in town, and as you can see, we're right on the street front. That's the sidewalk right out there to one of the main thoroughfares, and my husband has decided to take a run. We went to lunch. We went to a local restaurant for lunch, and we had fish and chips, of course. Had to have fish and chips while we were here. And then my husband brought me back here, and I was so full I took a nap. Even though we split lunch, it was still a lot. And Tommy went and walked all over town. I think he said he went about 4 blocks each way, and now he's back, and he has dressed out and he is taking a run. He's mapped out kind of the course he wants, and he's taking a run. So tonight we think we're going to walk just down to the end of this block and down a short distance as we turn, And there's a Thai restaurant there, and we're going to go and just have some egg rolls, Thai spring rolls rather, and let that be it for dinner because we had such a big lunch. And so you can imagine when I woke up from my short nap, what I did is I stitched. The call for today for Springo was also fell for me in my column R. So my call, let me get my I brought my Springo board with me to share with you. So the call for today, for the April 23rd, was number 9. And number 9 is in my R column. And my R column is for Rosie Rhapsody. So I was able to pull it back out. I mentioned to you I had stitched on it in the car one day traveling for the call. And so now today I was able to stitch on it in the room, which was much nicer. And actually went and got my Ryobi light so that I could see it in case I needed it for tonight. But really didn't need it too much with all this beautiful natural light in here. But I did turn it on just to help me out. But this is where I got to. I had started working on this inner portion, and I had done part of this little section at the top there. And today my goal was to get this whole flower done, and I did, and I kept going because I just wanted to run the floss off my needle. And so I kept going, and I kept going on the other side of that little flower. And it wound up giving me a total of 192 stitches in there today. So I've posted it, and now I'm ready to put this away and pull out something just to stitch for fun. And I haven't decided what that's going to be yet. I've been chatting back and forth on Messenger with Marissa today. She's packing, getting ready to leave. She leaves very early in the morning, about 5:30 in the morning. And we're hoping to meet up when she gets to Brampton, and she's planning on being at the hotel about 1:30. We may not be able to check in that early, but we're going to try to time it where we can meet up with her there, and then maybe we could just jump in our car and go touring and seeing where everything is and have dinner together and all of that. So I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait, Marissa. Can't wait to see you. So I'm going to stop recording for today. Oh, I hope you're stitching. Thanks for coming along for the travel with me, and I'll talk to you soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina. I am actually recording this in my car. I'm in the parking lot at the Henry Ford Museum. I've been touring the museum with my husband for about 3.5 hours or so. You see I'm stamped so I can go back in, but I'm taking a little breather. He's going into another section that I know he's going to want to really concentrate on. And I've pretty much seen the sections I personally want to see, but I don't want to distract him, and I don't want him to have to cut his visit short at all. This is the part of our travels that I really feel are for him. And so I've just gotten back in the car. It's about 1:30, I guess, in the afternoon, and it's beautiful outside. The sun is shining. It's nice and warm, and I'm going to stitch for a little while. And then when he's finished inside the museum, we want to tour the grounds around the museum. And so we'll do that next. So this will give me a breather, a little break to do that. So I thought, what better time than to catch you up with what I've been working on, what I've been stitching. So I didn't record hardly anything while I was at the retreat. I lived in it. It was fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I've been to a lot of retreats, and I've enjoyed different things about each of them. And the overriding thing, obviously for me, is always the people that you meet, the people that you get to connect with. And I will tell you, it was such a delight to get to meet Pam from Pam's Crafty Corner. I walked in the lobby of the hotel, and she squealed, "Dina!" And I turned around and squealed, "Pam!" It's great to meet someone you've been watching for a long time and commenting back and forth with each other. And so we had wonderful conversations over the weekend. she presented me a little gift. I presented her a little gift, and these were small tools that we can use in our stitching, and they just meant so much that because it came from each other, you know, it was very fun. I enjoyed meeting Caroline and her staff, and Hannah. Everybody there is amazing. They had probably the largest vendor selection I've ever seen at a retreat. There must have been about 10 of them, in addition to Evertote and Roxy Flosco, that were a whole end of one room. The room we were stitching in, you didn't have to go far to shop. The other vendors were right outside the stitching room, and so it was easy access. Anytime you wanted to get up and stretch your legs, you could go shop, and I did. It was fabulous. I had a great time. I'm so delighted that I got to meet my table mates. The only one I knew when I went into it was Marissa, but Chris and her sister-in-law Blair invited us to sit with them at their table, and they had some people that they sat with each year, Melissa and Barb. And then we were joined by another lady who came in by herself and just chose our table to sit at, because Caroline just puts a balloon at all the empty chairs so that people coming in late can just find a balloon and they can go sit in that chair. And so that was lovely. And so we got to meet each of these ladies and enjoy their company and get to know them a little bit. I tell you what, I got to meet some of the most lovely people, and Cavell was one of them. And Cavell lives in Michigan and had apparently watched my channel. We'd never met before, but she just reached out to me one evening as Marissa and I were headed out the door, and to go, really to go in for the evening. It was an earlier time that we were going to bed because we were so wiped out from the first night of being there and traveling and everything. But as it turned out, it was just meant to be, because Cavell and Marissa and I sat and talked and visited and got to know each other, shared our lives with each other for several hours, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was as if I described it this way to my husband the next day. I said, it's not just meeting people that like to stitch. It's meeting people that love some of the same things you do and that share your life by watching you on FlossTube, and they're opening up their life to you. So it's more about friendship. And I feel like I have a new friend in Clavell. So anyway, I really, really enjoyed meeting Cavell and getting to know her. So Cavell, if you're watching, hey sweetie, I'm so glad to know you. So looking forward to continuing to get to know you. Marissa and I had a ball. It was so good to get back together. It was so good to see each other in person, not just on Zoom. And we had planned to start a Jeanette Douglas together because she's a Canadian designer, and Marissa brought us the two stitch boxes to start. But the more we looked at it, we realized you have to sort all the silks, and you have some pretty intense designs with specialty stitches, and in a retreat environment, that's really hard to do. So we both talked about it and decided we would both have a new start, but it wouldn't be a Jeanette Douglas till we got home, and then we will start those later down the road. So for my new start, I will tell you that my wonderful friend Ellen gifted me one of her designs, and that became my new start. So this is its bag that it lives in, and that is an Evertote bag. And this is the design. It is an ode to a good dog. Can you imagine anything better for me than an ode to a good dog? Ellen, of course, designed this for their dog that they had for many, many years that was named Sam. And she tells you the story on the back. And she actually charts it for Roxy Flosco. She has a DMC conversion. But Ellen was sweet enough to gift me the Roxy Flosco threads with my gift of my pattern and my fabric. So for my new start for this retreat, I started Ode to a Good Dog. And this is the way it goes. I started it in the upper corner. I've almost completed the first page. If you've never seen a design by Ellen, she graphs them and splits them up in very large font. So you don't have any trouble reading her chart. It's wonderful. Now, if you don't like having a lot of pages, like if you're working on something electronically, you can always make a copy of it and put them together, tape them together, and then you could even take a picture of it if you want to, and upload it into your phone. But I absolutely had a ball stitching on this. So this was my new retreat start. And I wound up actually putting in 361 stitches in that new start. So I felt like, pardon the difference, I felt like that was a great new start. Then one of the other things that I got to do that was very special, unfortunately, Ellen has strained her wrist stitching so much. And playing the accordion in the crash test dummies doesn't help that feel any better. It's really hard for her. So she had a brace on and she couldn't stitch. So her table mates, being the wonderful friends that they are, each took her new start. She put in one strand floss, did one little motif to get it started so she could say she had a retreat start. And they took it and each of them put in a motif for her and signed their name under the motif on her pattern that they had stitched. So I came over to talk to Ellen and her table mates for a moment, and a lovely, beautiful woman sitting next to her, absolutely gorgeous hair. I wish I had her hair. It was beautiful. Just turned to me very quickly and said, "Oh, here, we're all stitching at least a strand for Ellen. Would you do that?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I took it and Ellen says, "Dina, it's 40 count." And I said, "That's okay," because I wanted to stitch on that for Ellen. I really did. And to be included in that was such an honor. And so thank you for that. And I took it to the table and I took a deep breath and I pulled a strand of floss and I stitched an entire small motif on 40 count fabric, my first 40 count fabric ever. Donna was so proud of me when I called her and told her. Anyway, so I did that, and it was 2 strands of floss. So my guess is it was roughly 100 stitches or more around in there. I didn't count them, but I think that's about what it was. Don't know if I showed you my hope and love, but I did complete the house. And I don't remember if I shared that with you or not. So I'll put it in here. And if I've already done it, please forgive me, because I'm not filming every day right after I do something, so I can't remember exactly what I've showed you and what I haven't. But this is the house. I did finish it stitching in my first day of stitching. That's first and second day, I think. I finished the house, the red in the house. So that turned out to be 20, let me see, I counted them, hope and love, 858 stitches. That's what I got in there. So there you go. So that's that one. So I did meet my goal for that one, which was great. Now, the next thing I started working on was my Hawk Run Hollow. And I am on that last square, as you know. And I was working across the bottom, doing these little checkerboards. And you see I ran out of floss. I ran out of this lighter green color, which is 368. And so I just went on and stitched other things. I did the fence all the way across and stopped. And then the next time I picked it up, I did the 2 colors of green here and the 2 cats. And I started the sunbeams, the bird, I did the bird and the 2 sunbeams. I did 508 stitches in it yesterday. So that's what I did traveling yesterday in the car. So I have decided, since, you know, my requirement in a few days will be half the square, I'm going to go ahead and start working on it again while I'm sitting here in the car. And my wonderful hubby went to Michael's because none of the vendors were selling really, just DMC, you know, specialty flosses, specialty patterns, fabrics, specialty flosses, and knickknacks and things like that. So I couldn't get DMC there, but there was a Michael's right down the street from the hotel. And my husband, while he was out and about one day, picked me up the floss I needed. So I have my 368 now, and I'm going to fill that in and get busy working on my hook run hollow. I will tell you this too, while we were in the museum today, we were there over our lunchtime, and they have an old 50s diner that they physically moved inside the museum, and it is fully working. And they had a lunch special today of a chicken salad sandwich, half a sandwich, a bowl of soup, potato chips, and your drink. And so we said, sure, we'll do that. And oh my goodness, we could have halved it. The chicken salad sandwich stood this high, and it was, even though it was half a sandwich, it was like eating a whole sandwich. And the bowl of soup was like a Campbell's vegetable soup. It was the old style canned soup. It was delicious, but it was, you know, it had brought back memories of my childhood. And the potato chips were very generous. And when we got our soft drink that was included, it was in a glass bottle. We got Coca-Cola in a glass bottle, like we used to get as kids. It was amazing. It was so much fun. So we asked our waitress to take our picture while we were at the diner, and so I'll insert that for you here. And then one of the things we did at the museum, there's a photo booth, and they'll superimpose some of the exhibits behind you in the photo booth. So my husband and I did a series of 4, and so I'll have to show them to you, just, you know, taking a picture of them. I don't have them on my phone. We actually had them printed out, but I'll show you the pictures we had made in the photo booth while we were in the museum here. We've had such a good time so far, and it's not even over. My husband's still touring. I'm going to take a little time to stitch, and then we will get back out there and tour the grounds this afternoon when he finishes on the inside. So I'm going to quit recording now and quit gabbing at you, and I'll go ahead and get some stitching in. But thanks for letting me kind of give you an update and share with you what I've been doing on my trip so far. And I'll talk to you soon, hopefully, and share with you more stitching. I will tell you this, I looked up on the website today for the craft gallery, because that's where I wanted to go on my way back home, to stop in there, because I've never been, and Pam and Steph talk about it, and they're closed till Thursday. We won't be going through there. We'll be home by Wednesday. So I have checked, and Keepsakes in Cincinnati, where Pam and Steph go, as Steph works, is supposed to be open. So after I talked to my hubby this evening, because we're going to travel south of here toward home after we get finished at the museum tonight, I will have to check to see how many hours it'll be to get to the Keepsakes from where we wind up tonight, and then I can message Pam and Steph. I would love to see them both. I know I could probably see Steph because she'll be at work, but I would love to see Pam if I can. Don't know if she'll be able, you know, to work it into her schedule, but I'm going to try, and if I get to, I hope that they'll either record with me or take pictures with me, and I can share it with you. So keep glued to the video, because it'll be just a few seconds for you probably, and I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina, and I'm back home. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful trip we have had. We have driven a lot of miles. It's the first trip we've ever done this way, where we've just got in the car and we've taken off with an idea of where we're going to go, but not necessarily having hotel arrangements because we weren't sure how far we were going to drive each day. And we roughly knew we were going to Niagara Falls, to the retreat, to the Henry Ford Museum and keepsakes, and then home. So we got all of that in, and it was wonderful, just absolutely wonderful. We had great traveling, really decent weather. We got rained on just a little bit on the way up and a little bit on the way back, but just sprinkling, nothing that you couldn't drive in, and that was really, really good. And then we drove through the vineyards and all the wineries on over to Brampton, which is just outside of Toronto, and that's where the retreat was. And it was a fabulous retreat, just fabulous. I will let you know that they are having another retreat in October, and I believe, if I have all this information correctly, it's going to be the last weekend in October, and their guest is Jeanette Douglas. And it's not going to be one of those retreats where you come and you sign up to take a class and you leave and you go take a class. Jeanette's going to be in the room with all the stitchers, and she's going to do some teaching, and it's going to be on overhead screens, and she's going to be talking with you and visiting with you, but you don't leave your stitching spot. You don't have to leave your fellow stitchers, and so she's there for everybody, which I think is great. Caroline was explaining it to everybody while we were there. And so if you are interested in doing that, I highly recommend it, and I believe that you can go on the Evertote Facebook page or to their shop, and you should be able to register for that. Caroline says they still have openings, so I checked on that. So if you're interested in doing that and seeing part of Canada, do that. I think that would be a great opportunity for you. I will tell you, Caroline and her crew put on a wonderful, wonderful retreat. It was mostly stitching time. Their door prizes are phenomenal, high value door prizes, and we are talking 9 to 11 every time they pull them, and they do them every day. And the times of that are announced well in advance, and that's really about the only time they interrupt you, is to make a quick announcement or to do the door prizes, and the rest of the time you get to talk and visit and shop. They had more vendors at this retreat than I've ever seen at a retreat, any retreat I've ever been to. And so Caroline's shop with the Roxy Floss Co. and Evertote was all in the room where you were stitching, and then right outside the room in the lobby area, just a few steps away, were all the other vendors, and they did a fabulous job. Kudos to Hannah. I understand she's the one who did it, of making sure that the vendors had different things from each other, unique and different things from one another. So you would go from booth to booth to booth, and what you would find would be very different. So great shopping, wonderful shopping opportunity. I met some fabulous people there, absolutely fabulous people. The ladies that I wound up sitting at the table with my friend Marissa and I had sat together before, all but one of them, and they were gracious enough to invite us to join them, and we had a ball. So hello, everybody. I miss you already, and I hope to see you again. So that was delightful. I made a lot of new friends, and talked with some people for sometimes hours. It was just fabulous. Had a wonderful, wonderful time, and I had several people come up and let me know they watched my video, and we chatted, and I got to know them, and it was such a wonderful experience. Stitchers are great people. They're such lovely people to get to know. And at a retreat, you really have time to sit and talk with them. So that's a win-win. Anyway, I mentioned that my friend Marissa was at the retreat with me, and I had made a project bag for her, and I can now insert the clip about the project bag so you can see my gift to Marissa. And I do believe she liked it. She used it all weekend, and I was glad to see that. And then Marissa gifted me this. Isn't this beautiful? She stitched it and fully finished it. And I think it's probably one of the things that she's worked on for a very long time. It took her a while to finish it, and it's something I think she's very proud of. And I am so honored that she chose to gift it to me. So Marissa, thank you. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to be displaying this in my sewing room. As soon as I quit filming, it's going up. So thank you for that. I think it's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. So we left Keepsakes. We drove for a couple of hours on down the road. That was the rainiest part of the trip, and it got dark earlier, and so we pulled off the road a little bit, about a couple of hours down the road from there. We had about 5 hours left to get home, and we didn't want to drive into the middle of the night. And so we stopped for the evening and went out for Mexican food, just had a nice, relaxing, evening of it, and we came on home today. So today, I was stitching on my gift from my sister. So Stephanie, you need to look away. She really does that. People ask me that even now, even though I've mentioned it before. This is what I'm working on, just to remind you, for my sister. And I put a good number of stitches in this today. Let me check. 321. And yes, that's all I got in a 5-hour drive home. But I will tell you, it is slower stitching in a car. But this is what I got done. So I added this entire section right here today, and I'm very happy with that. But for one thing, when you're in a car and you have motion going, it's a lot harder to count threads or spaces when you're stitching. And it's a lot harder to see where to put your needle. And so you really, really have to do it slow and count it. Okay, Steph, you can look back now. And so I just decided I was going to stitch that section and be done with it for the day, because by the time I finished that, we were just about an hour from home, and we put one more thing in our trip that we hadn't planned on doing, and that is we stopped in Canton, Georgia at a retreat house that I have rented for myself and 7 other ladies. We're going to meet up there and stitch for a weekend over the Memorial Day weekend. And I wanted to see it. I wanted to see how it was laid out and how the bedrooms were situated, so we could talk about it ahead of time and pick who's going to stay with who and all of that. And so I called, and Chase said I could stop by, and so Tommy and I did, and got to meet her and got to see the location, and it's lovely. It's going to be a great retreat place for us. And so when we left her house, my husband was really tickled because it was only about 1 turn, maybe 2, and we were straight in to Gainesville. Easy to get to, very easy for me to get to. So I'm thrilled about that. And so that was an extra I hadn't planned on today, but it sure was fun. So now I can message the ladies that are coming and let them know what I saw and what I discovered at the place, and that'll be helpful. So hold on. Let me give you a little recap for the month, since today's the 30th of the month. I may have already shared this with you, but I finished my Springo board with 2 bingos, and it's done. And so that one goes away now. And I finished my monthly bingo with a blackout. I didn't get the bingo first, but I did get my bingo. And so now that goes away too. And so we're finished with that. So now, my Whip Go calls. I have Whip Go for the month of May, and I want to tell you what those are. So my Whip Go calls are, they were number 5 and number 19. My number 5 is a Patriotic whip, and I have just started that Free and Brave, and so I'll be working on that. And then my number 19 was something I've already finished, and so I had substituted Nativity Tiny Town in there because that's going to be one of my May Monday starts. And when I looked at number 19 and realized I had finished it already, I decided to put that in there so I could count that for my Whip Go. And so I've got that taken care of. So let's talk about plans. Let's talk about what's coming up. Let me find my board. Here it is, a little ledger that I keep. So with my finish of Hawk Run Hollow, which happened while I was traveling, I had hoped to finish it at the retreat, but I didn't get to stitch that much at the retreat. But I did keep stitching on it every day. I stitched on it either at the retreat or in the evening every day, and I stitched on it in the car until I finished it. I didn't work on anything else until I finished it. So I stitched on it for about 3 days and finished Hawk Run Hollow, and I have a clip of that for this video. Here is the finished spring at Hawk Run Hollow, which I have named Water's Edge Drive. So this is spring at Water's Edge Drive, which is our neighborhood. And there's the blocks all the way down. It's been a while since you've seen some of those. Remember the rabbit one? The girls with their dresses flying. And there's the final square that I completed while on this trip. This was one of my annual goals for the Determined Stitcher group that I'm in, and also was on my Year of Whips. So I'm trying to get far enough away for you to see the whole thing, but it's kind of big. You can see it's on the hotel room bed. But I finished it today, riding from Ohio to, now we're in Kentucky on our way home to Georgia. And I am thrilled to death to have it done. Can't wait to tell you more about the trip, and I'll talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. So with that finish, it comes off my monthly requirements. You know, I was doing half a square every month, and I don't have to do that anymore because it's done. I'm so excited. So now my monthly requirements are one thing smaller each month. So I have my traditional 500 stitches in Nativity and Miss Christmas Eve. I have my May section that I've squared off for Royal Games 2. And I need to start my 5 golden rings stocking ornament. And then, of course, my 2 Whip Go calls, which are my Patriotic Whip and the Nativity Tiny Town. But in addition, this month, which is a good thing I got Hawk Run Hollow, I guess, off the way there, because I have my May Monday starts for this month. So on May 5th, I plan on starting my Dressmaker's Daughter by Mirabilia. On May 12th, I plan on starting the Nativity Tiny Town that was released at Market. On May 19th, I plan on starting a new Christmas sweater ornament that is in the series that I've been working on. In fact, all my cross-stitch planning group, the 4 of us are going to do almost all of these starts together. Several of us are doing a Mirabilia start the first Monday. We're all starting Nativity Tiny Town on the 12th. We're all starting a sweater ornament on the 19th, and then we're starting something on the 26th, whatever we choose. for that Monday. For me, it's going to be Girl in Her Garden, which is the Brenda Gervais I've been wanting to do. So that's sort of my overview of what you can hope to see in regular stitching and in new stitching. And then while I was gone, I had some new starts that I shared with you. The Free and Brave was one. And then I started an ode to a good dog, which was a gift to me from Ellen. And it was one of her designs, and blew me away that she did that. And so anyway, I started it, and I almost finished the whole first page. She does really large pages though, so don't let that impress you. It is a smaller portion, but I'm excited about it. And she was kind enough to chart Coco's name for me, and she's already emailed it to me, so I can print it out and put it right down there on the chart as I'm stitching it. So I'm excited about that. So you'll get to see those hopefully come back out, because in my acrostics I have tried to put all of my whips that are not my monthly requirements, as well as some of my new starts in there that either are going to be started on the May Monday starts, or I just started at retreat. So that's going to be a good variety, I think, for the month. I'm looking forward to it. I am starting the month with 17 whips because of some new starts I did at the retreat. And I plan on starting a minimum of these 4 in May. I have 2 bonus starts that if I have time, I would like to start. And I don't have anything really close to a finish. So my whip numbers may climb just a bit, but that's okay. I had planned on getting all these starts done this year so that I could get them out of my stash and into my whips, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So I guess that's it. That's sort of my recap of the retreat, my plans for the coming month. I don't have any special programs other than my May Monday starts for this month. But then in June, we're going to start the British Bake Off game again. And if you want to start it with us, we're going to do season 8. And go ahead and pick your 12 whips. And then when we watch the first episode, watch it so you can start with us on June 1st. And we'll be doing our stitching for the baking championship to put some extra stitches in some of our whips, which will be great. Okay, I have both the 24 hours cross stitch and the monthly magazine challenge acrostics ready to go. I won't get the daily 31 till tomorrow because they don't put it out to the 1st, but I'll add that in tomorrow, and I'll be ready to Zoom with my planning group, Lori, Donna, and I, and we'll be talking about our month of May and what we're all going to be doing on Sunday night. So I'm looking forward to that. I guess that is all the news, and I'm a little tired, so I'm going to say goodnight, and I still have comments to answer because I haven't been home to answer any of those for the last week and a half. So I'm going to try to get that done between tonight and tomorrow. And then I need to work on a video so you can see all this good stuff that's been going on. So I hope you're doing well, and I hope you've been enjoying your stitching. I know I have, and I thank you for letting me share it with you. Happy stitching, everybody.